Hello, everybody. Once again, first thing I want to say, I formally apologize for that little intrusion from that previous video where it seemed like I just cut off the midnight train out of nowhere. It seems like I just put a little the warning sign right in front of the train, and the train stopped at the warning sign. But I assure you that was not the case. You see, the midnight train is a relatively new project. Well, certainly a locomotive one. But my equipment is definitely still not up to par. It's like what I said in the first edition of the first half edition of the Midnight Train, as we like to say here on the Midnight Train with Josh Nichols, is that once you start up on the mountain, it's definitely going to be a rougher journey. I may not have mentioned that in the first one, but as when you go up the mountain, you're going to slip, you're going to trip a little bit, but we'll get our equipment back and we'll get right back on there. Now, thank you again for joining us. I apologize. That was just my really wasn't really the equipment. It was really my fault. Honestly, it was Josh Nichols' fault. Josh Nichols of the Midnight Train with Josh Nichols. And but that all goes back to what I mentioned earlier about human error. It's gonna happen. Uh, but the human error is counteracted by the human will to continue. And I thank my body for giving me that will to continue. Now, where were we? We were on the reading a little news article about the bikers. Now, um, hmm. Unfortunately, Josh Nichols has forgotten where he left off on the last video. But I tell you, a great place to start will be to read off on the last sentence I know Josh Nichols was on, because Josh Nichols just so happened to have highlighted the last word on the article. Now, bikers were seen popping wheelies and doing burnouts in the middle of the highway, ultimately shutting I-25 down. Denver police seized the 2007 Honda after the protest through the civil public nuisance abatement process. Police found that they will destroy the bike on Thursday. Ah, now I remember what I was talking about. You see, I was saying I needed to repeat this sentence one more time because whenever you're being recorded, this applies to me. I'm sure this applies to many other people too. Like I said in the first video, we're not all that different. We're really raised in. Most of us were raised in similar ways, give or less, more or less, give or take, more similar ways. We're really I understand everybody has different traditions, but there are little things that make us all similar. And I think one of those things is, I'll give you an example. When's the last time, for those of you who have attended school, for those who haven't, well, don't worry, we don't care about little things here, little things like that here. We just care about the midnight train and when its next stop is. So, for those of you who have attended school, and for those of you even rare uh, who have been in a position where you had to have read a certain excerpt of a book the whole class of yours is reading. Read a little excerpt of it for the whole class out loud as everybody listens to you. Now, I'm sure this applies to some people. I'm not saying all people. People are different, yet they're the same. That's the cruel irony of life, and I'm sure we all see that every now and once in a while. Uh, every time you're reading a book, when everybody else is listening, and or you get a little nervous about not fumbling, and you don't really read or pay attention to what you're reading. You just sort of read it to get through with it until your teacher calls you upon to stop because you're so worried about fumbling. Now, this may not apply to those who are not too incredibly self-conscious. And to those people, I praise. That is a valuable habit. That is a valuable trait. That is, that's something other people who lack that trait need to you know uh, acquire. And one of them is me, Josh Nichols of the Midnight Train. Now I know what you're thinking. That may be quite ironic considering I'm the little conductor here on this midnight train. But hey, on that mountain journey I talked about, we learned a lot on that mountain journey, and I'm sure that'll be one of them along the way. And I'll let you know when we reach there. Now, let's read this again. So let me try to get more a little natural here. It is, again, I am kind of jittery because it is the first recording of the Midnight Train. Now, let's see. Bikers were seen popping wheelies and doing burnouts in the middle of the highway, ultimately shutting the I-25 down. Well, that right there really contradicts the initial meaning of the message these bikers were going for, don't you think? In the first edition of the Midnight, well, the first half edition, I keep forgetting. Unfortunately, the conductor's too busy multitasking, trying to keep a train running. No, I'm just kidding. Don't blame it. I'm not gonna make excuses. I forgot. That's all there is to it. Uh, oh, excuse me. Oh well, I'm sorry, everybody. I didn't mean to make you wait there. Truly, I apologize. It was just a little distraction. Something outside the train kind of made its way inside the train, and well, I just wanted to see what that was about. No big deal. Things come and go. It's another aspect of life that we just have to get used to. Now, let's see. As I was saying, popping wheelies and doing burnouts in the middle of a highway to promote safety. Hmm, it's quite the irony, don't you say? I mean, everybody has their own. No, well, I'm sorry once again, everybody. I I thought I heard something come back from outside the train. I was certain I got that fixed. Well, now I'm sure nothing will come in. If it does come in again, well, hmm, well, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, won't we? This is the Midnight Train with Josh Nichols. In any case, that's really the irony of trying to promote safety. Now I understand people have their own ways of doing things. Sometimes, not everybody thinks the way we do. Again, there's the irony of life that we're all similar yet different. It's really remarkable. Yeah. This irony of life can apply to many, many aspects, and I'm certainly no, uh, I'm certainly no, uh, no, no guru on this matter. I am still climbing up that mountain in real life and on the train, so I'm still learning in two ways, ladies and gentlemen. But I have indeed noticed this, and I'm sure all of you may have noticed one aspect of it or another. So, they could be promoting safety, but doing it their own way. But in, they must keep in mind that they must keep in mind how it would come off to everybody else. Or perhaps they're doing it only for that little group of theirs. You know, some people, if they form a group, they can have little group activities and raise the morale of the group by doing certain activities and well, that's all well and fun, but when you take those projects onto a public area like the I-25 in this little Denver highway, well, got to keep in mind that other people have you know, certain responsibilities and certain opinions of themselves, and well, if it doesn't quite match up with theirs, well, you're making the whole group look bad. Well, that's at least as much as I would say here on the Midnight Train with Josh Nichols. I'm certainly, just giving my little thoughts on these. I'm certainly not judging. It's just something we do here on the midnight train, waiting, you know, um, all the way to midnight. And let's see what happened to these bikers individuals after this little performance. Denver police seized a 2007 Honda after the protest through the civil public nuisance abatement process. Well, that certainly sounds quite complicated. I'm not sure what that really means, but hey, maybe reading further will give me more hints. Police announced that they will destroy the bike on Thursday. Whew, destroy the bike. Well, that's quite the jump. Destroy. I never heard any professional establishment. Excuse me. Yeah, I'm quite jittery. Again, it is the first time with the Midnight Train with Josh Nichols. Well, you may hear me jitter every once in a while, even after this first time. Again, human error. There are little things in your mind that you can't easily get rid of, and well, that's a little story for the personal time in the corner with Josh Nichols. We're still on the midnight train with Josh Nichols, so let's keep trucking or chewing along, as I like to say here on the midnight train with Josh Nichols. So, and Denver police seized a oh, well, I apologize, everyone. I didn't even clear up what I was saying. I was saying that I never really heard many professional establishments use the term destroy in their statements. When's the last time, lovely ladies and gentlemen out there, when's the last time you heard a professional establishment use the term destroy in their statements? That's quite the radical statement. Sometimes in a sense, seeming as like the antithesis of the civilized society we live in, where somebody won't willingly destroy things, and we have our own respectfulness, our own morality, which some may argue is decreasing, some may argue it isn't. But regardless, society won't operate unless most individuals are, you know, ready to cooperate. And that, my friends, is a society in itself, I would say. Yeah, yes, indeed. Now, Denver police have seized the 2007 Honda after the. I'm sorry, everybody. I keep repeating. Another mistake on the midnight train, but don't you worry, that'll clear up. Now, unfortunately, I can't read the rest of this article until I click the good old read more button. Well, I guess that'll give these news organizations signs that there are people interested in their readings. Well, no problem with that. Everybody wants to know if these are interesting or not. That's completely fine by me. So let's continue. Let me just find. Ooh, this is quite the short article, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't think it would be this short. The owner of the bike, that will be destroyed, faces charges for speed exhibition and reckless driving. Once again, I apologize for my grammatical uh, flaws. Really. The owner of the bike that will be destroyed faces charges for speed exhibition and reckless driving. He is awaiting a jury trial. In quotes, the primary goal in destroying this motorcycle is ensuring it cannot be used again to threaten public safety, Police Chief Robert C. White said. We also want to send a clear message that dangerous behaviors such as street racing and exhibitions of speed on our roads and highways will not be tolerated. Now, before I give one last word on this, I really want to go back and make sure I didn't fumble on my readings in the first place. I want to make sure that this was truly supposed to be a safety demonstration. Let's look at the first three sentences here. Um, Denver police are planning to destroy a motorcycle that was seized after a mass rally that closed part of the Interstate 25. Hundreds of motorcyclists rode through Denver on July 24th as a part of a rally to call attention to biker safety and awareness. Interesting how biker safety and awareness ended up doing dangerous stunts like that. Quite the irony. But again, some bikers can be demonstrating in their own way. Now, I understand this is quite the jump. You see, like you know, some things can't be justified, some things can be justified. But what I'm just trying to say is that the human mind is just much more complex than people make it out to be. You know, in these bikers' minds, well, something's making me doubt in these bikers' minds that they were thinking the same thing. But in some people's minds, what they're trying to sometimes they are genuinely trying to perceive to portray something, but it may look completely opposite. Now, I'm sure everybody has heard that phrase before. You know, you are why did you do this? It seems like the complete opposite of what we were trying to do. Well, that's happened to Josh Nickles. That's happened to, I'm sure, many people. You know, things just don't go according to plan, and well, it's really just a bad scene. It's really just a bad scene. But hey, that's just another stepping stone used to get up higher on the mountain. Now, as for these bikers here, something's making me doubt that these good old bikers here really intended to go speeding and wheeling as an attempt to show safety. I think that once these well, I'm not going to make assumptions. I just think this was a misguided attempt, assuming that these bikers did not want to. Um, I think this was a misguided attempt, assuming that the bikers did genuinely want to perceive safety in driving and on the roads there. You know, I don't know. Bikers are they're definitely no different from us. We're all people. We just have different ideals, and that's completely fine. That's why we live in this world. That's why we're given uh, these critical thinking brains, you know, and that's completely fine. That's just hey, you know what? As far as I'm concerned, that they're just the coals that make up the world's train, the world's midnight train, and that's completely fine. That's what gives this world a nice big railroad system for a train to go all over. So I think that's going to be enough for one video. I think reading one article and giving one thought on it is going to be fine for the first video. You see how all those ones line up? That's just another trick we use here on the Midnight Train with Josh Nichols. And I thank you all for listening. And please, I thank you all for having the patience to continue to listen after that first well, what's the word here? I need to get some coals to my brain. That's what I need here on the Midnight Train with Josh Nichols. I need to get some coals to my brain, burn the fuel a little bit. But after that first mistake on the recording process in the first video, I thoroughly apologize for that. But for those who stayed, I thank you so much. For those who didn't, well, I completely understand. And with that, I will see you next time on the Midnight Train with Josh Nichols. Good night, everybody.